Human life starts at an incredibly small scale. A single microscopic cell called a zygote sparks a tightly scheduled 40-week biological program. Over the first few days, this cell rapidly divides. It grows into a structure of 16 cells before organizing itself into a hollow, free-floating sphere known as a blastocyst. Between days 6 and 10, this diagram shows the initial stages of implantation as the cluster attaches to the uterine lining. By the 10th day, in the bottom right panel, it is fully embedded, establishing its primary connection as the yolk sac cavity forms. This physical link is the absolute prerequisite for everything that follows. Without a secure anchor to provide nutrients, the 40-week timeline simply cannot proceed. At week 3, the embryo enters a phase called gastrulation. Biologists often consider this the single most crucial event in early human development. This cross-section illustrates exactly why. A simple 2-layer disc of cells reorganizes into 3 distinct foundational layers. You can see the upper epiblast and lower hypoblast, with invaginating mesoderm cells sweeping in to form the middle layer. These 3 specific layers, the ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm, act as a master blueprint. They dictate exactly where every future organ, bone, and skin cell will eventually grow. Moving into week 4, the support systems begin to take shape. The amniotic sac forms to protect the embryo, and early structures of the umbilical cord appear. By the end of the first month, the abstract layout is complete. The biological scaffolding is securely set and ready for heavy construction. Weeks 5 through 8 make up the embryonic period. This is a phase of explosive internal growth, known as organogenesis. A neural tube forms, setting the foundation for the brain and spinal cord. The heart begins to beat, and tiny limb buds push outward, eventually becoming arms and legs. By week 8, the embryo is roughly 3 centimeters long. In this image, you can see the fetus resting inside the translucent amniotic sac, with a visible umbilical cord and defined limbs. Nearly all major organs have begun taking shape. As development moves into weeks 9 through 12, the embryo officially graduates to the title of fetus. Facial characteristics become distinct. Inside the body, internal systems like the liver and kidneys actually begin to function. As the first trimester comes to a close, the primary biological engines of the body are fully constructed and online. Between weeks 13 and 16, the fetus experiences rapid physical growth. The skeleton begins to harden, the body reaches about 15 centimeters in length, and a fine layer of hair called lanugo covers the skin. The period from weeks 17 to 20 brings a sensory awakening. The nervous system matures to the point where it can process external stimuli. Taste buds emerge on the tongue, and the eyes develop the ability to perceive light. The auditory system also comes online, picking up the rhythm of the mother's heartbeat and the sound of her voice. This animated timeline highlights a critical threshold reached around week 24, the age of viability. Because pulmonary air sacs form in the lungs and critical brain structures mature, survival outside the womb becomes theoretically possible. Over these few weeks, the fetus transitions from an isolated, developing structure into an active, sensing, responsive being. This chart maps out fetal weight. As we move into weeks 25 through 30, you can see a sharp, exponential upward curve. The body is now heavily focused on accumulating mass, reaching roughly 650 grams. The brain expands rapidly during this window, developing enough complex wiring to take over control of some autonomic bodily functions. The respiratory system also crosses a major threshold. While still immature, the lungs are now physically capable of gas exchange. The fetus is actively practicing the exact mechanical lung movements it will rely on to survive its very first breath of air. During the final stretch, weeks 31 to 40, the primary objective is building essential fat stores. These reserves are required to regulate body temperature once the baby leaves the womb. Final cosmetic details also fall into place. The fine lanugo hair disappears, head hair grows thick, and fingernails extend to the tips of the fingers. This scale comparison illustrates the sheer magnitude of the growth.
You can clearly see the massive shift in both absolute size and physical body proportions, from the tiny 8-week mark to a 50-centimeter full-term infant. In roughly 40 weeks, precise biological mechanisms take a single microscopic cell and construct a complex living human being, fully prepared to enter the world.